South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Hi, I'm Kurt Angle. I represented the United States in the Olympics in 1996 and won a gold medal. Then I parlayed that into a pro wrestling career. I saw a commercial a few years ago.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation made a promise.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is paying off the mortgages for Gold Star families with young children. I thought, this is really cool. I want to be a part of it. My dad served in the Army for 30 years. We didn't have a lot of money, but he made sure we had what we needed. He set a great example for all of us. He died in a construction accident my freshman year in high school. When he died, we didn't have any income coming in, and we ended up being forced to move out of our house. I was devastated. So I understand what these families are going through, and to have an organization like Tunnel to Towers come in and pick you up and carry you and give you a home to live in, I think that's just amazing. I'd like to ask you to donate $11 a month to support these efforts by going to t2t.org or calling 1-844-BRAVEST.
The following is a Race Day Las Vegas presentation in association with Siraco Productions Limited on the Race Day Las Vegas Radio Network.
Live Live from the gaming capital of the world, time for Race Day Las Vegas, covering the sport of kings with a Las Vegas perspective. Now to the race desk with your host, Ralph Siraco.
From the backstretch to the turf club, at the race books and on the internet, to all horse players around the world, a good morning. Alrighty, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Race Day Las Vegas radio program for this Wednesday as we start out another week of covering the great sport of kings, Las Vegas style, from Las Vegas, Nevada at our studio station, our studios right here at the South Point Studios at the South Point Hotel Casino Complex on Las Vegas Boulevard in your gaming capital, and of course the South Point Studio streaming network at YouTube. We welcome you to the show. We welcome all of you running around town this morning here in town at our local anchor radio station, Sports Talk 1400 AM, 107.1 FM, and of course all of our websites, racedaylasvegas.com, .vegas.world.global, iPhone, Android, and your Google phone covered with your apps. The KSEP app, of course, that you can listen to us through the radio station, the YouTube app, of course, you can see us and hear us on the YouTube app as well. And of course, anywhere you get your podcasting, we simply welcome you no matter how you get us, where you get us, when you get us, to the Race Day Show for this Wednesday as we begin on this 19th day of March, 2025. Boy, I could tell you it's brewing out here. You know, you get this thing with the low flames in the bottom, and then it starts boiling and boiling and boiling. Well, that's just about what it's ready to do when the beginning of March Madness starts tomorrow here in Las Vegas. Of course, our place will be packed. We've got the South Point March Madness promo, of course, that tells you all about the big ballroom that's going to be open for viewing of all of the March Madness action. The big Madness party here starts tomorrow, and of course, it'll go through Friday and Saturday as well. Free parking, free entry into the ballroom. First come, first served, though, for the seats, that's for sure. And all of the great beverage and food prices and discounts for you as well. Just to have a great time of watching March Madness, the NCAA college basketball tournament that starts in earnest tomorrow, too. The first 3 days, first 4 days, the first weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the March Madness. Really crazy, man. It's worth the price of admission, but there's no admission here. Just come on in and enjoy yourself as we begin another week broadcasting from South Point. And of course, there'll be a lot of activity tomorrow. But we're talking about and centering on horse racing coming up this weekend. A couple of more races for the Kentucky Derby leaderboard points. We have for the Kentucky Derby leaderboard points now, they're all in the 100 range. They're all hundreds now. The Louisiana Derby at the fairgrounds will be one of 8 stakes races at the fairgrounds come Saturday, with 4 grade 2s and 4 other stakes races on tap. But one of the big ones will be the Louisiana Derby at 100 points for the Kentucky Derby Prep, and also the Fairgrounds Oaks, which covers 100 points for the Kentucky Oaks as well. Also at Turfway Park this weekend on Saturday, 2 big stakes races there that have Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks points. The Jeff Ruby Stakes will feature 100 points for the Kentucky Derby, and the other big race, of course, for the Kentucky Oaks will be the Bourbonette. The Bourbonette will have 100 points for the Kentucky Oaks as well. And taking a look at that leaderboard for the Kentucky Derby, now that we have the big races over the weekend computed into it, still holding the lead in the Kentucky Derby leaderboard is Cole Battle with 70 points. Owen Almighty has 65, and there's some news about Owen Almighty. We'll get to that in just a moment, as you see on the screen there. Citizen Bull is third with 60. Sovereignty is fourth with 60 as well. Then you have American Promise at 55. Flood Zone rounds out the top 6 with 50. Journalism, 47.5 points, waiting for the Santa Anita Derby. He is. Getaway Car has 46. Chance McPatrick has 35, and Built rounds out the top 10 with 35 points. As far as the Kentucky Oaks is concerned, The leader is still Quiet Side. She holds the lead at 68 points. Then you got Drexel Hill at 57, La Cara at 51, Fondly at 50. Good Cheer rounds out the top 5 at 45. Then you have the Queen MG at 43.5, Tenma at 33, 5G at 25, as well as Mohima at 25, Amaranth at 25, Maysam at 25, and Early On at 25. They're all locked in there at 25, and those are the leaderboards for both the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. And, of course, we just had a completion of the Pool 5 of the Kentucky Derby Parimutuel Future book there. And the leader, as far as the individual horses, is Journalism. He closed at 5-1. He'll pay $12.58 if he should win the Kentucky Derby in the Kentucky Derby Wagering Pool 5 bet. And as far as all others, that there were 39 individual ones, but 40 is the one that covers every other 3-year-old that might show up in the Kentucky Derby. That closed at 10-1. And of the other individuals, you've got, of course, Citizen Bull. Citizen Bull closed at 9-1, and all the others will be higher than that, that's for sure. So that's the way the Kentucky Derby Wagering Pool 5 closed on Sunday. And, of course, we'll be looking ahead this weekend to the Louisiana Derby and the Jeff Ruby and the Bourbonnette and the Fairgrounds Oaks to add more points to both the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks leaderboard. As far as the weekend is concerned, Saturday, as I said, there'll be 8 stakes races at the Fairgrounds that include the Fairgrounds Oaks and the Fairgrounds, the Louisiana Derby, and other stakes races there as well. 8 total. There'll be 6 at Turfway Park. Of course, the 2 that have the points, the Bourbonnette and the Jeff Ruby, and then 4 other stakes races there. Laurel Park and Oaklawn Park will have a couple of stakes races apiece. Oaklawn will have a Grade 3. Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park will each have a stakes race, and of course, Santa Anita's stakes race will be a Grade 3. As far as Sunday, Fairgrounds are going to come back with 3 more stakes races on Sunday, and Santa Anita and Gulfstream Park will have 1 apiece. That's the way the stakes races look over the weekend. And believe it or not, Aqueduct Racetrack will not have another stakes race on their program until April the 5th. No more stakes races until April the 5th at Aqueduct. That day will be the Wood Memorial Day, in which the Wood Memorial will be the showcase, the top of the 5 stakes races offered on April 5th. But until then, no stakes races over the weekend or anywhere at Aqueduct, the Big A in New York. A couple of other news items to get to. They will have a special Bayou Bluegrass Pick 5. It's like the Coast to Coast Pick 5 that Santa Anita and Gulfstream have. Well, this is going to be encompassing races at the Fairgrounds and at Turfway Park. Okay? Fairgrounds and Turfway Park this weekend. They're all 5 stakes races. It's a $1 base bet, and it will encompass the New Orleans Classic, where Sierra Leone is expected to return to the races, and the Bourbonnette, the Fairgrounds Oaks, that the top point getter in the Kentucky Oaks, Good Cheer, is expected to go. Then you have the Jeff Ruby, where the California Burrito will be back in that race after winning the John Battaglia, and the Louisiana Derby. The New Orleans Classic, the Bourbonnette, the Fairgrounds Oaks, Jeff Ruby, and the Louisiana Derby will be the 5 stakes races on their what they call the Bayou Bluegrass Pick 5. That'll happen on Saturday. It's a $1 base bet, and those races will get off at right around 2 o'clock Pacific time on Saturday. So keep that in mind. As far as updating some horses that are on their way to the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks, Owen Almighty. Remember that they said after his win at Colonial that Owen Almighty, not Colonial, but after his last win, that was at Tampa Bay. After his last win, they said they're going to keep him short and go in the 1 mile, 1 mile Pat Day on the undercard at the Kentucky Derby. But we all know and speculate that when you start getting closer to the Derby, that fever gets to rise. And so now they expect they're going to go on the Kentucky Derby trail with Owen Almighty. He is off the Pat Day race, and now he's pointing for the Kentucky Derby. His next start's going to be in the Bluegrass Stakes. as well as Eastern Avenue. That horse is expected now to return to the races in the Bluegrass to try to get back into the Kentucky Derby picture. Journalism is going to go to the Santa Anita Derby. Journalism just went back to the racetrack after his last wins. Bob Baffert, his 4 horses that are pointing for the Kentucky Derby, Citizen Bull, Barnes, Gaming, and Cornucopian, all had workouts over the weekend, and Baffert's going to try to map out where they're going to go in the upcoming races that for Kentucky Derby leaderboard points. But he has a little bit of a chess game to play with those 4 horses, but they're on the track for the Kentucky Derby. As far as this weekend, the Louisiana Derby field got 10 in it. There will be 10 in the Louisiana Derby field. The Jeff Ruby at Turfway Park has a dozen in it and 1 extra in it. So there's 13, but there's a dozen that'll go in the Jeff Ruby on Saturday. A couple other quick notes. As we say, Sierra Leone will return to the races in the New Orleans Handicap. That race got 10 in it. They entered that race, and the Sierra Leone will be in a 10-horse field for the New Orleans Derby. And Bookham Dano, remember his last race? They were setting him up to go to Dubai on the Dubai World Cup day. Nope. Bookham Dano, they decided to pass up the Godolphin Mile at Meydan Racecourse on Dubai World Cup day. That's, of course, on April the 5th. Bookham Dano will stay in the good old U.S. of A. So some of the things that are happening in news around the country. Today we have Jonathan Hardoon, and of course, if it's Wednesday, it means time for Dwayne Colucci. Dwayne Colucci will be with us from the Rampart, and John Lindo and Jerry J as well. Want to thank both Jonathan Hardoon and John Lindo for a couple of nice winners on Sunday. Jonathan had a $17.80 winner in the 8th race Sunday at Aqueduct. That gave Lane Luzzy, by the way, his 3rd win at Aqueduct on Sunday. Santa Anita on Sunday, there were really not much to talk about, except for the fact that Hector Barrios won the first race on the turf at Santa Anita for John Sadler, paying $17. And then he came back again in another turf race. That was the 6th race for Jeff Mullins and paid $6.20. So he won 2 turf races on Sunday. And then on the Monday St. Patrick's Day card, Barrios won the 3rd race on the turf for John Sadler at $9.60 and came back in the 7th race on the turf for John Sadler and paid $6.60. So they got a couple of wins on St. Patrick's Day on Monday, but Hector Barrios scored 4 turf races and 3 of them for John Sadler over the Sunday-Monday cards at Santa Anita. And there was a carryover in the pick 6 at Santa Anita on Sunday, but it was hit on Sunday from Saturday. That pick 6 paid $22,463.20 on Sunday. As far as Monday, the special card on Monday at Santa Anita, the St. Patrick's card, as we said, Hector Barrios and John Sadler had a couple of wins together. Kyle Frey had a couple of wins. He won the 2nd race at 540. He came back in the 8th race for Steve Sherman's 2nd win of the day. Steve Sherman also won the 5th race, paying $780. That race, Fry and Sherman paid $460 together. And as far as the pick 6 on Monday at Santa Anita, paid nice, $51,279. But here's the kicker. First race on Monday at Santa Anita, 6-horse field. The winner paid $79.60. Then you had 540, 960, 780, and 780. $79.60, 540, 960, 640, and 780. Those were the prices. The pick 5. If you extract the $79 horse, the pick 4, the first pick 4 races 2 through 5 paid $107.75. The $79 winner in the first race on Monday at Santa Anita produced a pick 5 of $8,519.05. The difference between the pick 4 and the pick 5 with the $79 horse was $8,411.30. That's why you play those pick 5s, folks. All right, so we got our handicappers ready to go. We got your racing menu ready to go, and I hope you're ready to go. We'll be right back after our first break and get you your racing menu, and then off to the races with our handicappers on this starting day of another week of race day shows from the South Point studios at South Point. And don't forget to join our chat box. They're chatting away already. Just go to the South Point Studios at YouTube, hit the race day icon, get to our page, and then subscribe if you haven't already. The subscription is free, and that'll get you into the chat box chatting away. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Back on Race Day Las Vegas, looking at the weather here in Las Vegas. 45 degrees outside right now. It'll be we're only going to get to a high in 64 degrees today, so it's pretty chilly out here. But stand by for maximum action, because by Sunday we're going to hit the 80s. By Sunday, the sun will be shining all week, and no really other weather to talk about except it'll be nice. And by Sunday, we're going to get up in the 80s. And, of course, next week we'll be in the 80s as well. As far as if you're coming out here this weekend to enjoy all of the March Madness with horse racing and basketball, the weather is going to be like it is today in the mid to low 40s overnight and in the mid to low 60s in the afternoon. We're not going to get into the 70s until about Sunday, I believe. We're going to get there as well. As far as today, Miami 79. You got New York at 62 and partly cloudy. Chicago, it's raining and 60 degrees. They're having a lot of bad weather through the Midwest right now. Chicago 60 degrees. And, of course, in Phoenix, Arizona, sunny and 74. Southern California, LA is going to be 77 today. Wish there was racing there today. And, of course, here in Las Vegas, we'll top off at 64. The winds have died down. We've had some winds over the last couple of days, but the winds have died down as well here in Las Vegas. So let's get started with your racing menu for today, reminding you, as we always do, first post times are that of the Pacific time zone. So if you're here in Las Vegas or in the Pacific time zone, remember that if you're in the Pacific time zone, these will be your first post times. If you're not in the Pacific time zone and you're in all those other time zones around the world, just adjust to whatever time zone you're in from the Pacific time zone. And then you'll be right on the mark. You won't miss anything like I miss Mom and Dad. Okay, we begin with Mahoning Valley Racecourse. Mahoning Valley Racecourse has a Pick 6 jackpot carryover of $46,064. First race post time is 9:15 for the 8-race card today at Mahoning. Tampa Bay Downs has 9 races today. Tampa Bay Downs has a first post time of 9:30. They have a Pick 6 jackpot carryover there today of $62,946 and a Super High 5 carryover of $2,648. And their first post time at Tampa Bay today, again at 9:30. Parks Racing, they got a Pick 5 jackpot carryover, $158,379 at Parks Racing. Wow. Their first post time, Parks Racing, for 10 races is at 9:40 at Parks Racing today. And then following that comes Gulfstream Park. Gulfstream Park, their Rainbow Pick 6 jackpot carryover, of course, was mandatory payoff on Sunday, so they'll start anew again today. Gulfstream Park first post time is set at 9:50 at Gulfstream. And then we go to the fairgrounds, where they're going to have a big day on Saturday. Fairgrounds has 8 races today. They've got a regular pick 6 carryover at the fairgrounds of $3,451. They have 8 races, a first post time of 10:45. Then we roll out to Phoenix, Arizona, where they have a 9-race card at Phoenix at Turf Paradise. But the first 2 races will be quarter horse races. And, of course, the last 7 will be thoroughbreds. Turf Paradise has a carryover in their pick 6 jackpot of $56,573 and a first post time of 12:55. 12:55 is first post at Turf Paradise. And then we wrap it up at Turfway Park. 9 races today at Turfway Park. First post time is at 2:55 at Turfway. And their first post time, again, is 2:55 at Turfway Park. And they have no carryovers there today. Turfway. First post time, 2:55. All right. Let's go out to Jonathan Hardoon standing by. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my man. I could tell you this. Over the weekend or over our weekend, Monday and Tuesday, that decoupling bill passed the House in Florida, even at all of the resistance that the racing industry is putting up against it. And we've talked about some of the columns have been written, etc. And we know that it's not going to be good for horse racing, at least from the horse racing perspective and the business of horse racing. But that bill did pass with a few tweaks to it, but not enough to satisfy the horsemen, that's for sure. It has passed the House. This House Bill 105. Now it continues through the legislation before it becomes law. But there's a lot of resistance to it, and a lot of people in Florida in the horse racing industry ain't happy.
Well, why should they be? They're investing money into the game. And, the only good news, if there's any good news, at least they guaranteed racing for till 2030. So, I think they have 5 more years or whatever. So it's kind of kicking the can down the road, and hopefully they'll be able to resolve something. But it doesn't look good, Ralph. It really doesn't.
Well, in giving in to keeping racing Gulfstream till 2030, it gives the horsemen, first of all, a couple of years before they find out the real effects of the decoupling. And then it gives them a couple more years to get the industry together and find out what they're going to do from their perspective and get investors from their nucleus of people to see if they can resurrect or keep horse racing in Florida. Maybe not so much to buy Gulfstream, because, if they close down Gulfstream, you know what they're going to do. They're going to develop that land. But they can find another place in Florida and do a racetrack.
Renovation. They have another place. They have Hialeah. Hialeah Racetrack is waiting for them, Ralph. They redid it a few years ago for quarter horse racing, and then they decoupled there, so that went out of business. But Hialeah is still standing, and that makes the most sense to me anyway as another option. It's a beautiful track. For years and years, it was the place to go in Florida, but Gulfstream took over. But, obviously Belinda Stronach does not want to be in the game anymore, so let her go. And I would really try to figure out a way to get Hialeah up and running.
Hialeah was just an absolute one of the mainstay racetracks of America, like Santa Anita was back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. I remember when I was first getting into the racing industry, as old as I am, when you had Seattle Slew running over there in the 70s, late 70s, and of course he won the Triple Crown, etc. But in any case, it is a very historic racetrack. However, we have to look at racing like all sports is looking at, that there has been a change with technology as far as the racing fan, the sports fan. And now it seems like, except for the big days, you get the big crowds on the big days, but in most of the time, you don't have the big crowds you used to because of technology, because of cable TV that you can watch the races, phone apps, etc., internet wagering, etc. So I think you have to almost change with the times, where Hialeah was a racetrack that was built to handle 50,000 people or so. You wonder if now, with the economics as it is, and the horsemen that now have to find investors to invest to keep the game going in Florida, if buying or leasing Hialeah and all of the overhead that it might have, if it would be better maybe just to buy to build a smaller racetrack that's more in tune to the crowds that we have now.
But it's easier to downsize than to rebuild from the beginning. Look at Aqueduct Racetrack, for example. I was there a couple of weeks ago. There no longer is a grandstand. They used to have no more grandstand. They have one floor in the club, actually 2 floors in the clubhouse and a restaurant on top. They downsized, they turned the rest of the place, the grandstand anyway, into a casino. So that's why they were able to do it. I'm sure Hialeah could downsize it. Like you said, Ralph, they only have a number of these big major days, and most people aren't even going to the track anymore. They're betting from home. They're betting on their phones. They're betting on their computers. That's why you're right. They have to downsize a lot of these racetracks and, make it fit the times. And unfortunately, those are the times we're in. They'll go out for Breeders' Cup Day. They'll go out for Santa Anita Handicap, for Belmont Stakes. For the big days, we understand. You'll always get the crowds. But you could count those days on one hand, unfortunately.
Sure you can. But in those in those days, you have the corporate tents and all that stuff that you can build for those days. As you see all the time for the Breeders' Cup, sometimes you can't even see the horse going down the backstretch, all the corporate tents in the infield. But I digress in the fact that maybe then if they can get a good deal with Hialeah, and this is all, assumption that it's not going to work out. Yeah, with Gulfstream. But if they do that, then when they downsize, they can maybe turn parts of the grandstand at Hialeah into maybe restaurants or shopping, utilize it for something else to bring people there for other reasons, along with bringing them there for racing. So we'll wait and see.
But they kind of did that at Gulfstream, and it really didn't work out, did it? I mean, they built all these shops. They made it like a mall, really. Yeah. It's a racetrack at a mall, and apparently it's not working if she's looking to close it down. So I don't have the right answer.
Well,
the biggest that happen in California. Florida at least has options. California has no options. What are they going to do? Run at Los Al and Del Mar the whole year? That's not going to work.
Well, for the most part right now, let's put out the first fire that's going on in Florida before they talk about Santa Anita. I know that's what you're talking about because Santa Anita is a place that has some protection with it being a
historical,
right? Yeah. So we'll wait and see about that. Anyhow, just speculation. What I want to speculate about is a nice winner you gave us at Aqueduct on Sunday. But we've had a couple of days off and we spent the money. So how about giving us a few more winners today?
And we got a lucky Bob on Sunday also.
Oh, man, you aren't kidding. It was one of these bink, and we finally got the bink.
Right. So we always complain about the tough losses. Well, it evens out, so they say. Anyway, let's look at Gulfstream Park. Look at race number 8. 5.5 furlongs on to Peter. And I like the number 3 horse in here, Old Chestnut. Martin Drexel is the trainer. Tyler Gaffley owns the rider. Draw a line through this horse's last race when he was breaking from post 12 at a mile on the turf. Had a very rough trip that day. Cuts back in distance, 9-2 on the morning line. I like number 3, Old Chestnut, to win today's 8th race out at Gulfstream.
Yeah, Marty Drexel is winning races quite often now at Gulfstream, isn't he? A couple of races, 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah, every horse he sends out seems to be running well.
Yeah. Okay, so in the 8th race, the 3 horse, Old Chestnut, the 3 in the 8th race at Gulfstream, and I'm sure you got a Tampa.
We do. The 9th race today is 7 furlongs on the main track, and it's an interesting race because the favorite in the race is the 4-horse Gucci Boy. 22 starts, 1 win, 10 seconds. The second choice is Midnight Onyx. 22 starts, 1 win, 6 seconds. Give me those races all day to play. I'll bet against those short price horses that don't want to find the winner's circle. And I like the number 8 horse in here, Cincerito, a 4-year-old gelding from the Mario Lopez barn, 8-1 on the morning line. This horse is sitting on a big effort. I like the rider switch today. Number 8, Cincerito. 8-1 on the morning line, upsets and wins today's 9th race out of Tampa Bay.
Right. Those 2 horses that you mentioned were what numbers again?
The 2 favorites in the race are the 4, Gucci Boy, and the Midnight Onyx.
Okay, and you say they got a whole bunch of seconds, but not enough wins. Just one win apiece.
Camera Shy, Ralph. Camera Shy.
Yeah, okay. So in the 9th race, we're going to use number 8, Cincerito. The 8, Cincerito. Definite win bet at 8-1. But then I'm going to come back and use a few exactas with the 8 over the 4 and the 6.
Why not?
Because they're camera shy, but they always make they're always in the picture, but just not in front at the picture. So in the 9th race, your play though is number 8, Cincerito at Tampa Bay Downs. I want to remind everybody that Jonathan has full sheets today for the 2 Florida tracks, at least for now, Gulfstream and Tampa Bay.
JONHARDOON.com. Thank you, Ralph. Stay safe. Be well. They already drew the Louisiana Derby, so I guess we could start doing it tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Louisiana Derby for us tomorrow.
Thanks, Ralph. Stay safe and be well.
You got it, my man. All right, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, Dwayne Colucci is standing by from the Rampart. Don't go away.
Here we are in Houston, opening up our first veteran village. This beautiful building that's going to house 161 homeless veterans. Any veteran that risks their lives and they're struggling with PTSD, mental illness, addiction. We're also building what I call comfort homes, 500 square foot homes. These are for older homeless veterans, so they have their own space and give them back some of their dignity, some of their independence, and most certainly give them back their life. Go to T2T.org to learn how you can change a veteran's life forever.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. Time to go out to the Rampart. Dwayne Colucci. Good morning, Dwayne.
How you doing this morning, Ralph?
I'm doing fine, my man. How are you? Oh, look, you got the Vegas Knights cap on there, huh?
Yeah, got to represent. They're not playing too good, Ralph, so, we have to step it up a little.
I know, but we'll bob and weave, and I know that you guys are getting ready to kick out the jams tomorrow when people flood the race and sports book with the first day of March Madness. What a crazy time it is. The first weekend of March Madness is like it's the price of admission just to go watch these people.
Yeah, it definitely is. You're going to see all sorts of characters and people representing all parts of the country. We got people flying in from all over, Ralph, that are just looking to enjoy this tournament. And it's a yearly event. It's comparable to the Super Bowl in the fact that the whole weekend from Thursday on through Sunday is just going to be incredible. And, people are just chomping at the bit, and good to see a lot of people that come in and commute yearly.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late cocktails all in the book, watching those games all throughout the day. But we are, of course, looking at what our big weekend will be. Of course, Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby weekend. And, of course, you have the Louisiana Derby and the Jeff Ruby holding 100 points for the Kentucky Derby. How do you see these races?
Tough races, Ralph. I'll be honest with you. I'll start with the Louisiana race. John Hancock is going to be the favorite. I'm looking at it right here.
Yeah.
He skipped the last race last weekend at Tampa. It was probably a good move. Brad Cox knows exactly where to place his horses. And with Flavian Pratt, this is 100 points, and this is one of his top runners. So he's going to be difficult to beat. Steve Asmussen is represented well here. You see Tastic and Yinzer, two quality starters. And Caldera is back from the Sunland Derby, and we saw what Lucas was able to do over the weekend over in Colonial. It was just amazing that he's still the chief, the captain. Unbelievable, just a great career for Dwayne Lucas, and he is going to have Caldera now. The Baffert horse that he ran against at Sunland didn't run all that great, so we're going to keep an eye on Caldera. I think a solid horse, but he really couldn't get by in that last race, so he might be able to be beaten here. I like John Hancock. I hate to go chalk, but maybe Built could get a piece. The Catalano horse, there was some buzz around him, but I think John Hancock is training well for this, and I think that Cox has placed his horses very well.
And, Cox has to have another horse in the race as well, Instant Replay. We'll wait and see with Florent Garreau aboard to see how he does. And, the one trainer that usually has Kentucky Derby prospects that kind of is being overlooked right now, Todd Pletcher, he's got a horse, Vicimo, in that. So we'll wait and see about that. A very interesting Louisiana Derby, that's for sure. And then, of course, at Turfway Park, the Jeff Ruby oversubscribed. You got a full field of 12 and one also eligible waiting for a scratch. And that thing seems to be wide open. Of course, the John Battaglia winner, California Burrito, returns in this race.
Yeah, and he was tough to pass. I mean, I love Baby Max and California Burrito. I've been studying Turfway a lot, Ralph. And, Baby Max couldn't get by. California Burrito really looked good. He really extended himself and, was able to hold off the favorite. Baby Max was the favorite with Abel Cedillo that night. Now you get some new faces, though, which is going to be interesting. I get nervous when I see, like you said, horses from Todd Pletcher, horses from McPeak now. You don't know how they're going to take to the track. Lucas is there as well with Innovator. You have an Owen Hardy horse in there. This is a difficult race to handicap. I like the horses that excel over that poly track, though. I'm going to stick with Baby Max. I think he has a little more to do. Hopefully he could get the distance in this one. He might have distance limitations, but if he makes his move a little sooner and gets a better trip than California Burrito, he could definitely turn the tables. California Burrito got that perfect trip last time, Ralph, so keep that in mind. This is a difficult handicapping race. You're going to get a price on either of these horses because, like I said, you're looking, you have a lot of good horses. Poster is in there. You have Maximum Promise. You have all these new faces and Pletcher. Let's hope we could get a price. I'm going to go with Baby Max, though. I'm going to stick with him.
And there's a couple of Southern California-based trainers that have horses in the race as well. Peter Urton has Charlie's to Blame, and Peter Miller turns out Curvino. So there's a great mix in this race, that's for sure. And like you said, a hard handicapping race. But if you can figure it out, I think you're going to get paid well.
Yeah, definitely. And anytime the two Petes are involved, you mentioned two great Southern California trainers. And Urton has been all over the country lately and winning races. And Peter Miller as well. He has a small little string there at Oaklawn. He bounces around. These are top trainers. You could definitely get a price in this race just because you have these named trainers. And they attract a lot of handle at the window, even though people, they're not handicapping as hard as we are. They will just bet these trainers on the blind just because they're familiar with their names and what they produce.
Well, Dwayne, I know that you've been concentrating on Turfway Park the last couple of weeks for a pick for us, and you indicated that you really do study Turfway Park. It is a little bit of a different handicapping when you're talking about a synthetic racetrack, isn't it?
Oh, very hard. I'll be honest with you, Ralph. You could pop one and it makes a world of difference, but still, the win percentage is going to be a lot less, but the ROI is incredible over at Turfway. You look at the average payoff on these pick fives and pick fours, and it's near the top of the country. Yeah, very difficult. Different formulations that you have to use, different speed figures, different breeding techniques that I use, and it's definitely difficult. It's not like just doing your base Belmont, Santa Anita, or Gulfstream.
Well, we will put your handicapping prowess to work right now. You got a pick for us?
Yeah, I do. In the fifth race at Turfway, I like number 5, Zoli. Kelsey Danner bringing this horse off a layoff from November. Has a race 2 back at Presque Isle that would definitely win at this level. And the horse shows an affinity, like I said, for the poly track. It's very important that you take to these synthetic surfaces or have prior experience on these synthetic surfaces. I like Danner as a trainer as well, and I think we could get a nice price here. 6-1 with Ramos. That's a good combination. And and the only thing we have to overcome, Ralph, is the layoff. But look at them 2 monster works leading up to this race. This horse will definitely win this race if on its game.
Well, let's hope he's tight enough to win in the 5th race. And that, of course, the anchor in the early pick 5 and early pick 4, as Dwayne said, great payoffs there in those pools. 5th race, number 5, easy to remember, the 5 and the 5th, Zoe Lee is Dwayne's pick at Turfway Park. And Dwayne, I know you're going to be busy this weekend. And so if folks are anywhere near that area of Las Vegas, Nevada, the only place to go is the Rampart. That is for sure. Thanks a lot, Dwayne.
Thank you, Ralph. It's always a pleasure to join you and come out and see us.
You got it, my man. All right, we're coming back with John Lindo and even maybe Jerry Jackowitz will give us a thought or two, so don't go away. We will be right back.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
The Race Day Las Vegas Show, the only exclusive daily local media racing information source in Las Vegas.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. Time to go out to Southern California, where John Lindo is standing by. John, good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine, my man. How's the weather right there in Southern Cal?
That's beautiful. It was a little cold last night. It's going to be a nice warm day out here, and we should be good now for the next week or so. So we should have no problems this weekend. Conditions should be good for racing in Santa Anita.
Well, I got to tell you what, Hector Barrios and John Sadler teamed up. They're a force to be had in any turf race in Southern California right now.
Yeah, Barrios has been doing a lot of work for Sadler, and they've been a quietly good jockey-trainer combination for a while now, and he's kind of riding first call on the live grass horses there. That horse, the filly he rode the other day, Raw Ability, finally broke with the field, and when she was close up, she still finished like a train. She's going to go up and get better and better, and I would not be surprised to see her do some good when she gets up in the stakes ranks.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you see a turf race, you got to put Barrio in there because Barrios just rides that turf course so well.
You know, he sits inside and he is so good at working his way off the rail and finding a clear path turning for home. He knows how to do it. And it was great. He was kind of under the radar for a while and we were cashing a lot of tickets. Yeah. There's still a little value there, not as much, but there's still some value with Hector Barrios.
Well, John, I know that, in addition to Southern California, you do, the Lindo Report sometimes for other racetracks. And certainly this weekend, Fairgrounds is going to have a lot of those great stakes races. What is the plan for the Lindo Report this week?
Well, we've got Gulfstream Park tomorrow with Santa Anita Dark. We'll go back to Santa Anita on Friday and include that coast-to-coast pick 5. We'll do that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll have something on the back half of that card at Louisiana on the Derby card there. So many stakes races there. I don't know if it'll be a pick 5 or a pick 6 sequence, but I'll have something on the back half at Fairgrounds on Saturday.
Well, we know that Bob Baffert had 4 of his Derby packed, so to speak, out on the track the other day for workouts. Citizen, Bill Barnes, Gaming, and Cornucopian. But there he's got he's got this little game to play with trying to move the parts in the races. We saw that he didn't have an entry into the Louisiana Derby this weekend. So, and we assume that, at least Citizen Bull will be heading for the Santa Anita Derby along with Journalism, who, of course, is probably going to be one of the favorites in the race. Not Baffert's, but he's going to send out Citizen Bull. But he's still got a few other placings to make, don't he?
Yeah, he does. Cornucopia and Wart heads up with Barnes on early. Was it Monday? I think it was. Yeah. But I thought he was the better of the two that morning, and it'll be interesting coming off a 6 furlong maiden win at Oaklawn. If Baffert throws him into one of the major Triple Crown prep races, I wouldn't be surprised. Barnes, I don't know if he wants to send him on the road again. He broke his maiden at Churchill Downs. He may stay home for the Santa Anita Derby. So they're changing right now, and again, the last couple of works will tell him where he's going to go, and he doesn't know where they're going to go, so I don't know where they're going to go.
Well, we know that he has a penchant to run a horse or two always in Oaklawn, so we expect one of the horses to show up in the Arkansas Derby. I don't remember him ever sending a horse, or certainly rarely, to New York for the Wood Memorial, so we're getting it, they're kind of getting fewer and far between, maybe the Bluegrass, et cetera. But we'll wait and see. Like you said, you don't know, I don't know, but we know that he's got plenty of ammunition to go in those races. And it'll be interesting. Of course, this weekend's racing, the Louisiana Derby and the Jeff Ruby, both wide open affairs that are going to be interesting to watch, et cetera. And we know that you'll be taking an eye on that one. Thank you so much for that nice winner over the weekend as well. And we'll get back on track with some picks and your sheets for tomorrow when we begin again. Like you said, you'll have Gulfstream tomorrow, and it'll be crazy behind us now with the March Madness about to happen.
Right, and I want to clarify one thing you guys mentioned about that decoupling bill in Florida.
Yeah,
the bill passed the House Commerce Committee, but it still has to get through the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Yeah,
and that's where the horse racing industry is going to try and take their stand, and hopefully they have a little bit of luck as far as the Senate not passing that decoupling bill, because if it goes through, it's going to open a whole can of worms, not only in Florida, but around the country.
You better believe it. And, when I said it passed the House, usually when it passes the committee in the House usually gives an okay, because they wouldn't pass it unless they thought they'd have enough votes there. But we'll wait and see what the Senate has, and we'll wait and see certainly how many lobbyists we can get for racing to try to put a kibosh to this. Anyhow, we will talk to you tomorrow.
You got it, Ralph. Good luck today.
Thank you. And now we're going to go to Jerry Jackowitz standing by, who has a words of wisdom for betting. Jerry, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Ralph.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm always harping on the idea of making a win bet or emulating a win bet. Just a simple win bet. If you go into the book and you have a $20 or $50, your most efficient play is probably going to be the basic win bet. So think about that. But if you have 100 or more, then you can emulate a win bet with the exactas, for example. So let's say you like the one horse in the race and there's 7 or 8 horses in the race. You can take the one all, and then you have sort of emulated a win bet. If the one horse wins the race in this particular case, you're going to cash the bet.
Sure.
But you can really amp it up by putting more money, or weighting the wheel, we call it, by putting more money on the particular secondary horses that you think have the best chances to fill out the play.
Okay.
And the best part about it is you can kind of tell before the race how much to put on each one to build the best play possible, because you can see what your payouts are going to be, and you can decide if the payout is sufficient to warrant, let's say the horse is 2.5 to 1 or 3 to 1, that you're going to get that on the total bet. When you add up all the bets, you say, oh, this horse, with this horse, I'm going to get $55.
Yeah.
I have this 2 times, that's $110. My whole bet is going to be $40. Well, I'm going to make 5 to 2 on the play, or nearly 5 to 2. You can add up all the plays. This is your greatest advantage. And
Let me ask you this.
It's
Let me ask you this. When you are looking at that and trying to calculate, do you sit there and say, this is X, I want to make X amount of dollars in this race, and then do you bet proportionately to try to reach that goal?
Right, exactly. But slightly different.
Uh-huh.
The horse is, let's say the horse is 2-1, and I want to bet $100, so I want to get $300 back.
Okay.
So each exacta has to give me at least or nearly give me $300 back. And if some of them are going to give me less than $300 back, some of the exactas have to give me more than $300 back.
Okay.
So
So in other words, then when you make your basic play, whatever the return is that play would give you if you hit it, then all of your
Right.
other plays have to be proportionately equal to that.
right.
Okay.
And you just add them up on a column. You write
Sure.
it down. The 1-2 pays me $10. The
Sure.
1-3 pays me $40. The 1-4 pays me $50. And you multiply by the amount of times you're going to bet it, and you
Right,
say,
right.
"Oh, okay, this deserves a $3 bet. This deserves a $12 bet," and you figure it out. I mean, you do the work.
It's sort of
It's
like
part of the game.
it's sort of like doing human analytics then.
Well, it is, but I mean, you have the advantage. You can do this where it's very simple, and you can do this, and you can bring the advantage to your side of the table,
Yeah.
and it can be on the horses you like best.
Well, good. I'm
No.
glad you get that explanation, and because sometimes people sit there and say, "I know that I am sometimes delinquent in making the win bet first," and I've been caught so many times with not having the cash in a race because my exacta didn't get there, or exact does. So I fully understand the win bet is important, and thank you so much for that. And see, that's why we have Jerry on Wednesdays to give us a thought or two about how to play races. Winners are only half the equation. Money management is the other half. And with that, Jerry has one more thing to say on the show, and he's going to say it.
Have a great race day, everybody.